Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. Short video on my Diggerman cart here. This is a cart that I made out of half a dead cart and half a bootleg. This was the one that was a dead. I think the other side of this cart was dead. So it's a Char 512. Seemed an awful waste to have. I mean, I've got two 4 meg chips on there, and I think the C-ROMs are like 512k each, so I thought, well, that's a bit of a waste. I'd like to use this for something more. So what I'm going to do is, I think it's called Gagarin. The other game by Face, these people. I'm going to merge that with the Diggerman ROMs, and then, so in effect, what I'll have to do is take all these chips off here, take the P1, V1, M1, S1, both C chips, and then I've combined the ROMs already. For example, the P1's are 512k, so just copy the Diggerman 512k, paste into a new image, take the 512k image of Gagarin and paste that as the second part of that ROM, so you end up with a 1 meg image effectively. And I'll stick on here so this is an equivalent of a 27C 400, I think, which is 574-200D, so that's a TC 574-200D, and I'm going to swap that out for 27C 800, and I'll lift the upper address pin. The same thing with the VROM, that's 512k, so I'll stick a 1 meg chip on there, and again lift the upper address pin, and the same sort of thing with all of these chips on here. I think that's 128k, so I'll have a 256k on there. Sorry, it's not, that 64k, so I'll have a 128k chip there, a 256k chip there. You know, upper address pins lifted on both of these chips. Same thing on the 4 meg chips here. I've got a 4 meg image for each of these now. The lower 2 meg is 4 copies of Diggerman, and the upper 2 meg is the Gagarin C1 and C2. So same thing, upper address pin lifted off the board, and I'll join all those address pins together with a couple of with some wires, and stick them to a 7.4 HCT 161, as I did on my Magician Lord dual P1 video, if you want to check that out. And then I'll tie that to the input of that, or the count input of the HCT 7.4 HCT 161 to the reset pin, which I forget where it is. It's somewhere underneath on the prog board, I think. There's probably a reset pin on both boards, actually, now I think about it. So, and then when you press reset, it'll toggle between the two games. That's the theory anyway. It should work, I think. I can't see a reason why not. So I'll get all these chips off here now, blank them all, and then start programming them. Right, well, here's a progress part way through here. Well, I'm almost complete, actually. It is a hack. You can see, I need to. I'll probably stick a bit, like I did on the other board. I'll stick a bit of tape on the board there, and then just tape that down. And as you can see, I've used the surface mounted component there. I do have a dip one. I don't know where the hell it's gone. I was tired and just not focusing, and I wired it around the wrong way. Basically, I got the VCC in the ground completely the wrong way. Yeah, that smell of electronics, burning electronics, I destroyed the damn thing. So anyway, once I woke up a bit, I found I've got some of these service mounted 7.4 HCT 161s, so it's just right for the job. You know, it was a bit hard to solder the points and things on there, but it's okay. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see it's not too bad. There are a couple of pins at the bottom there deliberately joined. I'll put the diagram for this at the end of the video. I may well have done that on the Magician Lord video when I did that, I don't know. But as you can see, it is a bit of a hack because I've used different thicknesses of wires. The wire to join the two boards up together, I've used a thick wire. I've just used odds and ends, bits of things that I've had left, including an EEPROM that was damaged. One of the pins you could see had been broken off previously. So it's a total fudge fix. There's nothing elegant about this at all, apart from the fact it works. And that's all I'm bothered about. These are knackered boards. One was, let's say, part of a faulty set, and the other one was part of a bootleg, so there's nothing really lost here, and it means I can have both games on this board. So as you can see, I'm just waiting for the C1 and C2 chips at the moment. The C1's just completed, so I can get that on. I've tested this, it works fine. If you press the reset, you get the checksum from the P1 there of initially you get the checksum of Diggerman, and then if you press reset, do the checksum again, you get Gagarin. And it's the same with the music. You can hear the music changes, you know, it's completely different, the samples are different. Although, one thing I will say is that some of the, one or two of the tracks from Digger Man seem to be in the Gagarin ROM. I think that's correct as far as I understand. I think someone's probably ripped those and stuck those into Digger Man. It may well be that they're not actually used within Gagarin. Wouldn't be the first time there was a track in there that was not actually implemented within the game, but anyway, so you can see it's relatively tidy. It's just the thickness of wires and things, and I could have trimmed some of these legs down and just used a little stub to solder onto. I could use heat shrink tubing. I may well revisit this and tidy this up later, but yeah, aside from the C1 and C2, there's nothing missing, and I can actually start the games and I can see they both behave as they should do, although you can't see any graphics, you know, just see blocks, coloured blocks and things. But you can tell, you know, you can tell when you start Gagarin that the thing's rotating on the screen when you press the A button or whatever it is. So that's that. There you go, you can see it's working now. I've just reset it, it switched over to the second game actually. So it's Gagarin, I think it is. I called it Gagarin before, I think. I thought there was an extra G in there. But as you can see, that's working fine. So I'll start that. Now I had some problems with this, and I'll show you in a minute. I had the wrong address line on the... You probably spotted it if you know the pinouts for the 322 chip. But I had the wrong address line. I think I was using A90 instead of A20. It was driving me nuts for about 15 minutes trying to understand and make sense of what was going on. Because what was happening, it was showing all the sprites from Digger Man, no matter what game you were in, but it was changing the game. For a while there, I thought it was something to do with the way the SROM was being addressed. Anyway, right, just press reset. I'll show you this if I can. Whilst it's on, where's the MVS? There we go. Down here, press reset. And we're straight into Digger Man. So that's quite cool. Yeah, neither of them are great games. I would say Gagarin is better. This one's not so bad. It's you know, it's a, what's his name? I can't remember the name of the damn thing. Like Dig Dug type clone, I guess you could call it. Or there's another one, isn't there? It's probably more similar to. I forget the name of. Like Crystal Mines, I guess. The Atari ST or something like that. But it's quite cool. It does get quite hard actually. I thought this would be like a breeze, you know, but once you get past the first 2 or 3 levels, it starts to get incredibly hard. Right, so here's the finished board. You can see I did exactly what I was going to do really, which is just put a bit of tape underneath it and a bit of tape over the top of it, just hold it in place there. It's not moving anywhere. I should use heat shrink tubing or something really on these you know, connections here, but I'm not that bothered. It's okay, I guess. If you want to do a proper job yourself, you might want to consider doing something like that. And use the same sort of thickness as wire. I shouldn't use this thicker wire here. It's just a case of, as I say, I've been using ROMs that were spare. I've used bits of wire that were spare, half a bootleg board, half of a faulty board set. And it's been a fudge fix, really. You know, but this board was faulty as well, actually, and it's had a new, I forget what that is, a 174 on it. As well, you know, there was a jumper I had to change here for to allow 4 meg ROMs, but this Char 512 works quite well with 4 meg ROMs, and I think the Char character ROMs for Gagarin were 2 megabytes each. So you know, let's say that 2 meg for Gagarin is the top half of those ROMs, and the bottom half of the you know, the bottom 2 meg of each of those is your Digger Man. Now Digger Man's only half a meg, so what I did is copied and pasted Digger Man 4 times to create a 2 meg image at the lower half of the ROM, and then just paste in the upper 2 meg of each of the chips, you know, each into those. And you'll notice there's no splash or anything. There's no Neo Geo splash logo there with Digger Man, just pops straight up. Punch a few credits in. See how far I get. Yeah, it's pretty basic, but it's quite good fun. Those explode actually, those red things, bombs I think. You've got health bar there, the energy, you can see you replenish it by getting these little things there. You get a stick of dynamite to start with as well. You can see bottom left there, just with the energy bar. Push rocks out of the way. One of the main things you've got to avoid on this, it's not those little critters that are running around. things that tend to kill you are things falling on you. So I'll give you an example. If you go sort of under that rock, you see it comes down. If I was near that, that would land on me. So you've got to be careful. I'm too close to that enemy there. I have done about the first 4 levels of this. I thought it was going to be really easy and I thought I would get most of the way through without any effort, but it just get very difficult quite early on. But a lot of the time you may as well, that's alright. There's a glitch there that if you move into the middle of a bomb as it falls, it doesn't detonate. And you'll notice there's an exit up there just near that bomb. It doesn't open until you've got the count there at the top, where it says 20 worth of gems. So yeah, that's how it works. Did the same thing as before. I'm too close to the enemies. Stuff one more go. Yeah, it doesn't take much to get killed by those things. You just literally be next to them and they'll kill you. If you can kill these ones in here, you can do this fairly easy because you can get all those gems out of there, but it's easier said than done. As you can see, you can push the rock, so I'm going to push that rock like that. Didn't do much, did it? You can kill them with dynamite, that's one strategy. Anyway, I've seen enough of that one now, so I'll just swap over to the other gear. Let's press reset. One thing I've noticed with this, and it drove me mad for a while actually, my MVS, I think, and it might be all MVSs in general, the FM audio is quieter than the PCM. So if you compare this to an emulator, it doesn't sound quite the same, and I was convinced there was something wrong with VROMs or something somewhere. There isn't. It is purely that the FM stuff is not as loud. When you play it on an emulator, there's no compensation for how it sounds in real life, and one of the things you'll hear a lot from people who've even experienced yourself if you've had an MVS. Some games start really quiet, especially always the ones that use FM. A lot of FM on the title music and stuff. I think King of Monsters is one of those. It's got a lot of FM in the music there. And as a result, you can think, it caused me to think there's a problem. It's quite good this, but it gets, even though I've chosen easy, it gets hard quite quick. Let's just see. I'll start speeding up. In fact, it's already getting a bit fast. God, I'm doing very well here. You've got to have a certain kind of mind for this a game like this really, where you can sort of predict in sort of 3D space, which based on where you might rotate to. I just crap at that, I really am. I can do it when I'm really concentrating, but certainly not while I'm talking. I can't believe I've got no lines here. Somewhere. Best one to get there when you get that little icon is to change it to the bin, because that destroys an entire line. It'll be game over in a minute, I think, because I'm really struggling here. Damn, I missed the bin. Second. Oh yeah, I can't get out of that. Anyway, at least you've seen what it's like. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.